Hello everyone, welcome back to this video. This one is a weird one. I didn't really want to make it, but it will be more of like a rant one. So if you don't like those kind of videos, just turn it off and ignore it. Many of you messaged me on Instagram and asked me about the lack of content on the Swift GTI, and first of all, work had to move through Italy and stayed away from whole weeks, so I didn't really have time when I got home to do stuff. And the second bigger problem is the sucker here. You guys don't know it, but this is my new, to me, Volvo 960. This one was bought to replace the Honda CR-V as a daily. This should have been a very reliable daily car, but turned out to be kind of a nightmare, because every day something broke or something new was wrong, and basically the car is sitting here in my garden for like, I don't know, 2 to 3 months. I basically bought it and used for 1 month, and the rest of the time she was sitting here. I had to take the Swift GTI and use it as my daily through all the winter, and it ran through snow and everything, and it was not so pleasant. What the story behind this? On the paper, this should have been a very cool car, because as I said, it's a 1991 Volvo 960. It's powered by a 2.0 liter petrol turbo engine, which produces around 200 horsepower, and it's driven by a 4-speed manual gearbox, and through a LSD, power is sent to the rear wheel. So I know people who drift these things, and they should be pretty cool, but for now it's everything but cool. Once I sold the CR-V, this one popped up for sale, and it was sold by a very well-known Italian YouTuber who runs a workshop here in Italy, which restores mostly German and Italian old cars, and he had this one for sale. He made a few videos on it, fixing the little problems it had, and yeah, it convinced me to go and buy it. I went there, met the guy. He picked me up from the station, and he took me to his workshop, and I wasn't driving it, he was, but the car felt alright, didn't have really any problem. On the same day I paid him, and I took it home. On the drive home, it showed the first problems, because the place where I bought it is like 400 kilometers from home, and I drove it on the highway at high speed, so 130 kilometers per hour, and the car started shaking like crazy, so I had to stop, and I checked around. It was kinda dark, but I checked around, didn't see anything really loose or wrong, and I thought it was probably just the tires, because I didn't really check the tires before buying it. Let me tell you this thing first. The major problem here is I trusted the guy 100%. I didn't check the car thoroughly. I just watched the video, took a quick glimpse around the car, and said, okay, it's alright. But as I'm gonna tell you, the car wasn't alright. So after the stop, I restarted the car and give it another go. And while I was on the highway again, I noticed another thing, which was the speedometer, which was acting like crazy. After 100 kilometers per hour, the needle would just stop working, or it was jumping all around the places, giving false reading to everything. And the guy who sold it told me about this problem, but he sent the cluster to a workshop which supposedly fixed the problem, but he didn't really. I was on the way home, as I said, with the car shaking, speedometer not working, and I noticed that there was a check light which was blinking every now and then on the dash, and I didn't really know what it was. It was it had the lambda sign on it, but the car was going, I'd say, alright-ish. So I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna drive it home and assess everything tomorrow. The next day, when I was home, I took the car to a tire shop, local tire shop. I made them check the tires, and it was a surprise, because the tires it had on were like 20 to 22 years old on all the sides, and the car was stored, parked, unused for like 10 years. So those tires stayed flat on the ground for a lot of time, and they were shot basically. It was lucky they didn't blow up during the drive home. That's what the tire guys told me, because they were really in bad shape. After that, I tried to diagnose the lambda light on the dash, and this guy here has a built-in tester, which is very similar to the Swift one. So it has a module here you can check, and it throws up the code by blinking a red light. You check the code and you find the issue. Basically, the issue was the engine was the ECU radar was reading bad signals from the air intake. So I went ahead and changed the lambda sensor, and it didn't fix it. So I checked the MAF sensor, cleaned it, refitted it, and it was again showing problems. And then I just replaced it with an aftermarket one, and once I've done that, the car was alright, the light was gone, and it was okay. This car has another problem. It was shown on the videos too of the guy selling it, and it had a blown shock on the back. Too bad this car has pneumomats on the back, which are very famous shocks, because they are self-leveling and they control the height of the car in the back. The guy put new ones on, but he just replaced them with non-pneumomat ones. He just made a company replicate the shape of the actual pneumomats, but once I contacted them, they confirmed that the one he put on were not self-leveling, but they were normal shocks with just the shape of the pneumomats. So the car sits very low on the back, because these shocks don't help the car at all with the height, and the spring they're on, they're way too soft for the weight of the car. So that's another problem. I also had a pack of documents with the works done on the car. I checked that on every one of them. They were all very old, like more than 10 years old, and I couldn't find anywhere a sign of a timing belt, of the last timing belt done. I checked under the hood too, because many mechanics here in Italy like to paint the date on the valve cover, which is horrendous, which is criminal, but whatever. Yeah, I couldn't find one, so the car was the last timing belt in the best of cases was done 10 years ago, which means it needed a new one. After that, I started to notice another thing, which was related again to the cluster. Not only the speedometer was not working, but the lambda light that was flashing before, and is not anymore, wasn't flashing because the code was going on and off, but because the checking lights on the dash were actually working and not working. So once you turn the key on any car, all the lights should all the warning light should come on, right? In this car they don't. They sometimes do, most of the time don't. And yeah, that was a very serious problem. It was totally on me, because I didn't notice when I bought it. But yeah, I took all this info, wrote a mail to the guy, and told him everything was wrong with the car, and because it's not a private seller, but it is a workshop, so you should have an insurance or something like that. And he took it very personally and said to me everything was done alright, in the best way possible. He told me that the tires were alright, and he just told me that if the car made it home through the highway, they were alright. Which is stupid to me, but whatever. I told him about the shocks, and he replied that he didn't know that. I told him about the speedometer not working, and he just gave me the contact of the person who supposedly repaired it. I told him about the light not working, and he didn't give a fuck. And finally I told him about the timing job that was needed, and he just told me that he didn't do it because he couldn't find some of the stuff needed to do it, so he rather not do it, which is to me insane, because I don't know, you're selling me a time bomb? Huh? I searched online for all the parts needed for the timing of this car, and I found them. It took me some time because, you know, it's an old car. You can't really go to Volvo and expect them to give you everything. So I had to search online, new old stock and all this kind of stuff, and I bought everything for it. He also repairs cars and restores cars which are 30 to 40 to 50 years old, and they all have this kind of problem. You can't really find parts for them. You need to check not only your local parts dealer, but you got search online, ask people, and all this kind of stuff. But it takes some time, but most of the times you can do it. He didn't really want to do it on this car, apparently. So after the mail, he called me. He was very pissed, and he told me Didn't have to write him an email with all this kind of things, but I was very polite, and I told him that I trusted him and everything, but the car had all these kind of problems. He didn't really help me at all. He just gave me the contact of the guy who repaired the tachymeter, the cluster, and the guy who made the new shocks on the back, and that's it. He didn't give me any help at all aside of that, which is very disappointing, because on his video is always this righteous guy, but honestly didn't behave so well to me. But whatever, life goes on, right? So I bought everything to fix the car. I found someone to restore the old pneumatics on the back, and they would cost me 350 euros plus VAT each of them. So it's like 1,000 euros job, which is insane. So I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I try to find a different solution to the rear shocks. Meanwhile, the radio stopped working. The belt on the driver's side broke, so I had to find a solution. The car was missing some parts here and there. I had to find them, and the shocks which keep the hood up were shot. I had to replace them. What else? Oh yeah, right. The washer fluid bottle, the cap was broken. It was held tight with some tape. I had to order a new one. What else? Alright. The car randomly stopped working while I was going to work, and it left me stranded by the street. And at first I thought it was the battery, but it is new, so it wasn't really the problem. I managed to take the car home with the jumper thing because I was very close to home. So we jumped the car and drove it fast to my garage, or rather to here. And yeah, I had to find why the car had no electricity. So I checked the battery, recharged it, and the battery was alright. I turned off the car, and while I was checking the continuity on the battery, it was giving me 12 point something volt, while it should have around 14 while the car is running. So I assumed it was an alternator problem. I took out an alternator and gave it to a workshop which specializes in this kind of thing. They checked it, and it was okay, it was working. They gave me back, but changed the bearings, which were so fucking noisy that it was insane. I refitted it and tried to find the solution somewhere else. And on these older cars there is an exciter wire which tells the alternator when it's time to charge the battery. And this wires is connected to the light on the dash. It's a warning light on the dash with the battery. In my case, the lights on the cluster don't work, so the exciter wire doesn't excite the alternator doesn't charge my battery. Fantastic. So I could run a wire through some fuses which turns on when the key is on, like the cigarette lighter and all that kind of thing, and just wire it to the alternator and made it work like that, but it was a temporary fix. So I decided to take off the cluster again and send it to a professional who would repair it. It is already a week and he didn't really fix it yet, so I'm waiting on that. This is a resume of everything happened with the car. There is more to it, and this happened through all the winter. Now it's March. The car sitted here for like, I don't know, 3 to 4 months, and it's still here. So yeah, that's it. What's the lesson to learn here? Never trust anyone, even if it is a very well-known YouTuber. Just check every fucking car you buy. Truly, check everything, because once you bought it, you're fucked. So, that's it. Thanks for listening to this fucking rant. If you have had some experience like this, let me know down in the comments. So yeah, see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.